Morning, morning, morning. Good morning. Good morning to you.
We want to start with Makeda Bourne, who is a substance abuse prevention officer with the National Council on Substance Abuse, or NCSA. And also here we have Shayna Charles. She's the mother of a former camper of a very successful camp that the NCSA has staged through the years. And Uriah Charles, he is the former camper who's here sharing with us. So good morning to all of you and welcome.
Good morning, and thank you very much.
Wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
And great to see you, Makeda.
Thank you.
I used to see you more often sitting in another seat.
Indeed,
But
indeed.
it's good to have you here this morning talking about all of the successes, really, of the NCSA. I know that this particular camp is something that you guys boast about because
yes.
of the levels of success you've been able to achieve through the years. So give us an overview of the camp and how it came to be.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, good morning to Barbados. Thank you for tuning in. So Project Safeguarding Our Future Today is a program of the National Council on Substance Abuse. It was started 23 years ago. We only missed 1 year due to COVID. And so we are celebrating our 22nd year, our 22nd camp. So we are very excited to be one of the oldest programs that have been consistently implemented in Barbados. Project Safeguarding Our Future, also known as Project Soft, it targets children who sat 11 plus of that year. And it has a focus to help children to transition from primary to secondary. But the thing about the program is that we also work with the entire household. So we know that the transition is not only in terms of the physical transition, but there'll be the cognitive and the biological transition as your child moves from that developmental stage of childhood to adolescence. So we work with the family from August to March the following year, where we do the first phase is the camp, where we take them out of the community and we spend 1 week in residence with the children only. And then from there, phase 2, we do follow up with the children. They have monthly sessions, workshops, different tours to reinforce information learned at the camp. And then we have a 12-week program for the parents and guardians of these children so that it is holistic in helping these children to transition. Why we do this? Research shows that the family is the #1 institution that have introduced young people or children to drugs. So a mother or father may introduce alcohol, for instance. A cousin might be the one that they may get illicit drugs from. So because the family institution, and when I say family, don't change just mother and father, but that extended family as well, is the main ones that they may source their initial drug use from. We have to work with the family, and this is one of the programs that does that.
That's something that's really jarring to hear, but thinking about it, I can see why, these are the people who are around you. And for people who might not think that giving a little alcohol, certainly coming from a culture where people say, oh, just give her a little sip, kill the worms and stuff like that, I can see how that can definitely go awry. Now for you, Shayna, talk to me about how you heard about the camp and why you decided to enroll Uriah.
Well, we all here say, a very good friend of mine, she told me about the camp. And I said, you know what, let me take a try on it. And that's like one of the best things I ever did. To see how far he's come, I am just mind blown, and I will tell everybody I meet about this camp. I mean, it is something that you should try. I mean, the information, the way we are taught as parents as well. I myself, with the same alcohol given to your child, I didn't even know some of that information. And I think that education is the key for us to safeguard our future. And I believe this is a camp that you need to put your child in, especially the transition from primary to secondary, which is like taking a little fish into a big shark tank. This is something that you need to put your child into.
All right, that's beautiful. Now, Uriah, you are getting ready to head into 5th form at Christchurch Foundation School, so congratulations. And a special big up to everybody from Christchurch Foundation. Tell me about how the camp changed, the way you operate. I know that you're a pretty shy guy.
being a quite introverted person, I was quite wary at first with the camp because it was like going to be here with a whole bunch of new faces, not a lot of familiarities going on. So I would say it really helped me break out of my shell and help me expand my range and general field of.
Yeah, good stuff. What are some of the things you learned at the camp? I'm sure you had a lot of friends, you met a lot of new friends and so on, but you maybe share one thing at the camp that you didn't know before or something that you didn't think was as important as you found it to be after being a part of the camp.
Well, honestly, it was the fact that how easily like drugs can be spread and used. Like a lot of children don't really realize that. Like for example, a lot of people have older siblings that even around the same time, crop over time, a lot of people like winding down and getting a little loose. So like taming that aspect is what really got to me, and especially the fact that, as I say, being introverted, I didn't really know a lot of this stuff because I didn't really wasn't out there with the crowd. So
Yeah, so it exposed you to a lot of that in a big way. And that's important because sometimes we have children who live pretty sheltered, maybe based on the fact that they like to be by themselves. And I found, did you do 11 plus in 2020?
yes, please.
I find that the little ones who did the 11 plus in 2020, because leading up to, they were at home, still, preparing, kind of waiting for the next shoe to drop when it came to not only when they were going to do the exam, but then when they were going to go into school. The first few years they were at home and working online. All of that, I would imagine, had to be taken into consideration in taking care of these little ones. But with 23 years behind you, you were able to make it work.
Oh, yes. 2020 was a very challenging year. And that year, because we had the challenges of COVID, as you mentioned, instead of doing a sleep-in camp, we did a day release camp. So only the staff remained in residence. And then we allowed the children to come in daily. And then, you had all the different health checks. We have a nurse that stays in the camp. We have security. So we had to up that basically to increase and make sure that every child and staff member remained safe, healthy, well, protected. We followed the guidelines that were issued at each point by the Ministry of Health. And we had no incidences at the camp. And over the 22 years of having the camp, that is something, thank God, and we pray always continue that we have had great successes in terms of children who are introvert as well. And normally when persons think at children at risk, this is something we want to get out to parents. Most of the time you think it has to come from a certain community or from certain parents or so forth. But guess what? Children that grow up in homes that parents are doing their very best and at primary school might be that age student can be at risk when they enter secondary school for drug use. And we understand universal programming at NCSA. We understand at that stage of transition, every single person is at risk. So we need to increase their protective factors. So if they have very good homes, we want to make it better. If they're coming from challenging homes, we want to improve that. So we don't pick and choose in terms of who can come to the camp, though we have selected positions for those that are the traditional definition of at-risk students, but we also have spaces for that universal child that may seem as if nothing may happen, because as we know, there are many challenges that they may face when they go into secondary schools. And if they are not trained, if they're not educated and given the skills to navigate, all of us know and have seen over the years how these children that were in primary school that were probably A students and they were well students, sorry, that went after the transition and the experience being bullied, the experience being overwhelmed by a big school, overwhelmed by a huge number of students, overwhelmed by their bodies changing and not knowing how to handle that. These are key things, teacher, that we understand and we work with the children and the household. Because a lot of people don't even know things like children grow at night. So when children grow at night, you go to sleep and your hand is one length, for example. And you accustomed reaching just there to reach the cup. But the next morning, your child get up with the mindset that I'm reaching the same length, but guess what? They knock over the cup. they're knocking down furnitures. They're trying to squeeze through a space that they squeeze through. All the time I got through, but all of a sudden when they went through, they knock over the vase. And then we say that, are you
They're
clumsy?
clumsy, yeah.
Are you blind? But no, all of that is part of transition because their brain has to catch up with what is happening with their physical bodies. All these things we let parents know so that can help them to transition with the child and alleviate a lot of the stress that can lead to someone using a drug to cope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's important. And I saw you nodded in agreement, Shayna. So from the perspective of a parent, you said that you were able to learn quite a bit as well. Talk to us about how the camp impacted you and changed maybe how you engage and interact with Uriah.
Yeah, sometimes being a boy mom, you might want to keep them from getting into gangs because he's introverted. So he's not going to be out there sociable like most boys hanging out with rowdy people and everything. But there's some boys that are going to want to hang out with rowdy people to just have that like big up, having name and clout. So learning from the camp, I was able to know his changing of his body, how to interact with him when he has certain issues, not to talk to him, like yelling or talking down to him. So all that education, I was dealing with him not just on a basic level, but a holistic level. So that is why I said I will tell not just the child, but you have a family coming together to educate, to make this child a whole being going forward. So that's why I was nodding with everything that Makeda was saying.
Makeda, how do we get to be a part of the camp?
Okay, first of all, I want parents to know this camp is free. Well, free to the parent, you don't have to pay. Corporate Barbados, we chose and we are reaching out to them to sponsor so that that cost is covered. So feel free to call NCS at 535-6272, like 535-6272 or 535 NCSA, and you can get more information. We do have spaces left, so call today and get your child names in, get your booking in. Registration will officially open next week, Monday. But guess what, Tisha? Because we have a lot of parents who are pretty happy with the outcomes of their family, they are the champions of the program. So I think already without advertising and without opening registration yet, we already have, I think, when I look at it yesterday, 23 bookings of individuals. And we have some spaces that even some organizations have called and said, listen, I want 5 spaces, I want 6 spaces. So we want parents that you call today and get your space in so that you're not disappointed.
All right. And finally, most importantly, what would you say to someone looking on about getting their child enrolled?
Honestly, don't be shy about it. Don't be worried. Let them go because it's all the natural process of change. Just let it roll. Let it roll.
Good stuff. Let it flow. So, great advice. Make sure you get it. I don't know how Makeda is telling me registration is opening Monday and spaces are already gone. That defeats the purpose of registration.
People call in.
Because if you can register before you have to register there. But I totally understand. I would imagine there are parents who would have younger children who would want them to experience what some of the older ones did. And, I want to thank you both for coming in and sharing with us.
You're welcome.
Have a great summer. Any special plans? I don't get a summer. Any special plans?
Not exactly.
Yeah, you're just going to be painting. Because I heard that you're a very good visual artist, as is Mummy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff. I look forward to you coming back and sharing some of the fantastic pieces you do during the summer. All right?
Yes.
Good stuff. And I look forward to hearing more from you. Remember that number is 535-6272, or you can WhatsApp them at 2301250. Email ncsa.info@barbados.gov.bb and get in there. A few spaces are left. And if you have some little ones who took the 11 plus, it's a good way for to help them transition into secondary school. We know the challenges can be a little different. New friends from different environments, fitting in, just basically thriving. They're going to help not only the children, but also the parents to get past it. All types of things are going through my head. So Makeda, you definitely have to come back. And of
Sure.
course, we have to say a special good morning to everyone at the NCSA. We were very happy for them to come in and share the results of the recent survey. We definitely saw those results, which means that we have to take a handle more on what's happening within our households. All right, with that said, Project Soft is just a little ways away, so make sure you get in there and register.
Morning, morning, morning. Good morning.